and he pushed her to her death. And she thought he was a narcissist, and she thought that she'd got it covered by having code words to her mother. Hello, I'm Dr. Jane, and in this video I'm going to answer briefly some of the questions that you've sent in via direct message on Instagram. There's a link below, or you've put comments below. Dear Dr. Jane, I desperately need your help. My 14-year-old stepdaughter lives with me and my husband, and I'm understanding things better. It's not her ADHD. She is a narcissist. How am I supposed to raise her and deal with her and survive? And that's from Jen. Well, Jen, it's really difficult because you have the dynamic of her being your stepdaughter for a start. So you don't say, obviously it's a very short message, you don't say what the situation is with her birth mother, whether she's still around. I'm really not too sure, but I think the thing is that she is 14 years old. She's going through puberty. She's got challenges, so that's probably coming to the fore as well. She's confused. Her mother isn't around for some reason. You've taken her place, so there's going to be an awful lot of acting out. You say that she's a narcissist. Now remember, narcissists believe that they are exceptional, special, unique. Now you could be describing the average teenager, so what I would say is keep an eye on the situation. She's very young yet. Keep an eye on the situation, but the important thing, Jen, is to make sure that you have your boundaries. And that's the same with teenagers the world over. Have your boundaries and make sure that you talk to your husband about this as well. So teenagers, whether they're narcissistic or not, whether ADHD or whether anything at all, they will love to divide and conquer. So make sure that both of you have set your boundaries as far as your stepdaughter is concerned, and you both, so she can't go to one and then the other. Remember that classic triangulation. She'll be the victim. She'll try and play two people off against each other to get what she wants. That's just kind of teenage stuff worldwide. So just keep an eye out. So if you know, there's lots of resources out there to look at what might be a narcissist, you know, real proper, you know, stuff that she may be diagnosed. She's too young yet to get any kind of personality disorder diagnosis, but there might be traits. So keep an eye on it. But don't necessarily label her with it. But she is a teenager. We can label her as being a 14-year-old teenager, and with her living with her dad and not her biological mother for some reason. So there's all that angst that's out there as well. But keep an eye on it and make sure, the important thing is that you and your husband are coming from the same boundary direction as far as she's concerned. I hope that's helpful. So the next question is from Sumitra, and she says, my daughter is married to a narcissist. How do I prove in a court of law that he is a narcissist? Well, I don't know where in the world you come from, Sumitra, but it's to say that he's a narcissist. And if you wanted to qualify for him to qualify for an MPD diagnosis, he would then have to undergo quite a thorough assessment from a mental health professional. It's sounding like he's probably not going to adhere to that. That's the thing that I would first of all say. But he's your daughter's husband. So important thing here is make sure always you keep your communication. If he believes he's a narcissist, he will try and isolate your daughter. So it's really important that she gets to keep all of her communication with her friends and her family, work. Often in narcissistic relationships, one partner will make the other one give up work because it means that they then get more control. And remember, narcissists, you know, they have no empathy, they have no self-awareness, they want power and control over others, especially those close to them. So make sure that you are there for her at all times of the day, wherever she is. It's really important, because that sense of isolation, and it's not good enough, unfortunately, just to say, oh yeah, I'm there for you and can we have a code word. And you know, there was a terrible case in Scotland just a few months ago where a man was convicted of pushing his pregnant wife off the well-known mountain in the middle of Edinburgh, Arthur's Seat, and he pushed her to her death. And she thought he was a narcissist, and she thought that she'd got it covered by having code words to her mother when things were going wrong. That's not enough. there has to be a plan of action as well. There really has to be a plan of action. When I say about narcissists, I always say that there should be plan A, this is the ideal thing, plan B, if that goes wrong, what's the backup plan, and make sure you've got a plan C as well, just in case that goes wrong. So you've got options open to us. So always make sure that you are there for your daughter wholeheartedly, not just kind of with code words and things. That's really important. So this is from Daniel. Dear Dr. McCartney, I suspect that my girlfriend's 13-year-old daughter is a narcissist. I don't know for sure. There are many signs there. The most common advice for dealing with a narcissist seems to be get out of here. You're wasting your time. They're never going to change. Obviously, that's not a way forward when it's a child rather than a partner. What can we do to help her? Is there hope for her to change at any time? And that's from Daniel. Thank you very much for getting in contact, Daniel. As I said with the lady that was dealing with her stepdaughter, this is a teenager. And now I'm not saying that your stepdaughter isn't displaying really narcissistic traits. I'm not devaluing that at all. But it's interesting you write to say, what can we do to help her? And that's really encouraging that you, as a parent, a step-parent, are identifying things and they're trying to get help for her. So the first thing I would say is seek, look around. I don't know whereabouts you come from in the world, but there will be child therapists wherever you are. There generally are child therapists, and that might be a first port of call. And sometimes a child counsellor, child psychologist or psychiatrist will just want to assess somebody, give that person somewhere to talk to. And when I've worked with children in the past, that was the most valuable thing that we could give them, and that I could give them, that space just to talk, and sometimes not talk, but just to kind of reflect or think about what was going on in their life. But just that space that is just theirs. And it might be that your stepdaughter needs this. And you know, we say, can a narcissist change? You walk away from them because they're not going to change. She's quite young yet to be labelling her with that. So give her the opportunity. It'll be interesting to see whether she takes it. Some children, just out of being teenagers, don't want to think that they're anything different from their peers. And it's not through an arrogance or anything, but they just don't want to appear to be different. But it really is important that she gets all these opportunities. It may be in a few years' time that she displays many more narcissistic traits, but I would really, the thing that I said to the person at the beginning as well is make sure that you and your partner are coming from the same place. That's really important, so she doesn't again get to divide and conquer. We don't know anything about her natural biological father, what's happened to him. That would be potentially interesting to know. Is he somebody that's just allowing her to, encouraging her with her tactics as a punishment against her mother? I don't know. There's so many different strands that can come to this, but I would say seek a licensed child therapist to begin with. Give her space to talk about things if she can take it, and then see where you go from that. And it might be that you just always, and I've seen this from youngsters to teenagers, adolescents to adults. I've seen this, and you have to have the boundaries. You have to have that point. And unfortunately, I have situations where people have, through stealing and inappropriate behaviour, they have had to ask their child to leave at quite a young age in some cases, because it is affecting and disturbing other members of the family. But that is the boundary. And once a narcissist child knows that there is a boundary, they don't like it and they'll kick and scream against it. But as long as they have a boundary, but know, this is the important thing, that you are always on the other side of that boundary. If they behave in a way that's more appropriate than they've been behaving, then they can then come back, or they can have some kind of interaction with you. But boundaries, the most important thing with teenagers, and also teenagers that are displaying narcissistic tactics. But I would say please seek out a therapist and give her space, and let's see where you go from that. Okay, so I think that's probably enough of the questions. You can DM me below. There's a link, and also just feel free to put comments as well, and I'll try and answer as many questions as I can. So I hope that's been useful. It's interesting, there's a bit of a theme there, isn't there, coming about narcissistic stepchildren. I think the dynamic of the biological missing parent, a father in one case, a mother in another, is probably important to that, because these people are just working out who they are in the world, and for whatever reason that biological parent hasn't been there for them or isn't there. Sometimes this could be because of ill health, or sadly they've passed away, but that teenager feels highly rejected with that, and what do they do with that? And it's kind of one of the jobs for the adults in their lives to help them process that. So I hope this has been useful. I will speak to you again soon, and please do take care, and don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and hit the notification bell, because it just helps the channel get out there huge amounts. Thanks then.